Welcome to Meet the Musician, a series in which I asked 5 independent musicians a load of questions to dive into their musical journey. What motivates them, inspires them, what is their process, why do they even do this, and what does success look like? In today's episode, we're going to speak to Jill. She has such a passion and hunger to learn, develop, and just enjoy herself, and that really shines through in everything that she does. Jill's solo project is Oreana, but she also plays in other musical endeavours, as you will hear. So give yourself 30 minutes, let's settle in and find out all about Jill's journey so far. Jill, over to you. So Jill, thank you for joining us. Pleasure to get you from the other side of the ocean. So just for those that are watching that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Jill Paslier, and I live outside of the Philly area right now. I make music with a solo project called Oreana. So I write all the guitars and bass for that, and I usually send it to a drummer friend to do drums. And then I also play bass for a band called Hero A, which is a live band here in the Philly area.
Well, you've released a record with both of those bands that you just mentioned there recently, right? So do you want to just tell us a little bit about those two?
So I just released a record with Oreana called Dubai. And then with Hero A, we released a EP. It's our first EP under Pelagic Records. So that's really exciting. And that one was recorded in a studio. Yeah, we're trying to do a lot of shows with Hero A to kind of promote that record as well. So
I'll drop the links for both those records down in the comments below. If you haven't checked them, both really good, but really different as well. So if you're into anything rock related or post related, then you're going to find something in both of those releases below. So Jill, what I thought would be interesting is just to maybe go backwards a little bit into what I'll frame as your musical backstory. Clearly productive in terms of working with different musicians, producing, advertising, releasing music. But where did it start?
Yeah, good question. So I started playing bass guitar when I was 15. Dad had an old bass laying around the house from when he used to play in college. So I just kind of picked it up. I started it. I liked it. So I got my own bass. And then from there, I played mostly through like high school and college. I did take about 6 to 8 years off music entirely while I went to grad school and then kind of started my career. I just was busy and forgot that I had hobbies. So I did that for a little while. 2018, so maybe 4 years ago or so, I just started picking up bass again. So I mostly played bass like through high school and college. I played a little bit of electric and acoustic guitar, but not very well. So when I picked up bass again, I started playing like with bands, but bass is like, it's good to play with other people, but it's not very interesting to play all by myself. So since I was playing mostly by myself, I decided I should learn more electric guitar and then like recording through Logic and things like that. So I could play with myself, both guitar and bass, and I could write things. So I started that like just a few years ago, and I never had, I wrote a couple acoustic songs in college, but I'd never really tried to write like a rock song or a full song before. So I got into that. I loved it. And I just started doing a bunch of ideas and taking guitar lessons so I could get better at guitar. So like through my last 3 albums, like you can definitely hear the progression and like just my improvement in playing and recording and the different styles that I'm trying to learn. So, yeah.
Why have you gone through that process personally? What does it mean to you? What's the inspiration for yourself?
I just think it's fun. It's a fun hobby. Like I have a day job and I'm very busy with that, and I love working and I love what I do. So I'm by no means trying to like be a musician full time or make money off of it. But yeah, I had some extra time and I wanted to do something that I love to do. I really like learning and growing. So like with guitar, especially because I was more of a beginner level a few years ago, there was so much opportunity, and every week I could see improvement in my playing and I could learn new things. So, I love rock music. I've been going to shows and like, I love playing loud and live and, just having the music. So
you haven't mentioned it, but you have done, I don't know if you still are, but you have played with other musicians in addition to the 2 bands you've mentioned. So you're clearly someone that likes connecting with people and making and creating art and music with other people. What's your inspiration there in terms of working with, because it can get quite complicated, can't it, working with multiple people and multiple projects?
Sure.
How does that pan out? How do you stay on top of what you need to do and when?
one easy option would be just to like play with drummers, because I don't play drums very well. I literally just got this kit like a couple months ago, and then I got too busy with work and have hardly played it. But I'm trying to learn just for fun. But it's nice to have a live drummer who knows what they're doing and can make beats that I can't make just in Logic, just programming through there. So that's an easy, partnership to find a drummer who can drum over some of my songs. I've also been partnering with a few of our friends in the Post Everything Collective, of course, or just other friends that I met on Instagram. And usually it's like, if I hear some of their music and they're another solo project doing their own thing, and I like their style, or they have like a technique or of course, probably everyone's better at guitar than I am, so it's easy for me to collaborate with guitar players. Then I just kind of reach out and say, hey, let's try a song together. And either they'll send me like a little demo, or I'll send them one, and we'll kind of work on that, just sending tracks online. So I think that's really fun, because it sounds different than just my own solo stuff, but it still has like my flavor in there and theirs. And it's kind of a nice mixture of the two.
Obviously you play with people, bass player in I think a 5-piece, sort of big, dense, thick sound, but you are fundamentally a solo artist. Was that a choice? Is that something that you wanted to do? Or is that just the way it kind of the cookie crumbled?
So it just kind of happened a few years ago. I was playing like in a band in Arizona where I lived, and it just like didn't work out. So I found myself with no band. And like I said, I don't love playing bass by myself. So it was kind of out of necessity. Like I wanted to keep playing, and I love playing bass. And I'm fine to even play with headphones through my computer, but I need other instruments to play with it. Like I don't want to just play by myself. So yeah, I think I was just inspired by other people doing the solo project thing, and they could write everything from start to finish. And yeah, not that I knew how to write a song, but I saw other people doing it, and I kind of could put together the pieces of a song, like the layers of the guitar and the bass and the drums, like how they fit together, how they transition. Like my songs, they are post-rock, but they still kind of go in verse, chorus. To me, like there's usually like repetitive sections or like changes that to me like kind of feel like a song structure that I'm familiar with. So I just kind of listened closely to the music that I enjoy, and I thought about how the song is put together and how I can do something similar without copying it. So I could either change like the chords or the rhythm or the strumming pattern or the melody. Like if you change those things, it's a new song. So I just kind of like took what I knew from listening to music and tried to make something a little bit different.
And practiced and did stuff, and then you just find yourself moving forwards with it, don't you? Like you say, you like developing and learning, and that's the best way to do it. So your last record with Oreana was quite explicitly influenced by your time away that you mentioned before in Dubai. But in terms of music in general, whether it's playing on your own or whether it's playing with bandmates, peers, or whatever, what sort of inspiration do you draw personally, either musically or thematically? Where are you getting your sort of personal inspiration from?
As far as like my musical inspiration, I'd never written like an ambient track before. They always have drums. Usually it's like a slow ambient intro and then the drums come in. But I thought, why don't I just do like my slow ambient intro and never have drums come in? So I wanted to try something new and different. And like, a lot of our post-rock solo project friends, some of them have ambient songs, and I've never done that. So that was kind of inspiration to do the first track on my record, which is called Al Wasl. And that one actually was directly inspired by a place at the World Expo in Dubai called Al Wasl. It was a giant dome in the center of the expo.
That's amazing.
And they always had beautiful ambient, like thick, like music, that you could just relax to and enjoy as you entered the space. So I kind of wrote that song specifically as if I were writing a soundtrack for the space. And then the other songs are kind of more just post-rock style, I guess. I do take guitar lessons, and I'm learning like different chords or like a little bit about music theory and using major and minor chords and some other types of chords. So as I learn those chords in my lessons, like for my homework, I go through and I kind of try out different things. And if any of those sound good, then I write that into part of the song, and then I just add layers and it becomes a song. And then my other inspiration, I think, is pop punk music. Which is different from post-rock, but I love it. I know my songs don't have vocals, but they can still have that fun, upbeat summery vibe. So the second half of the record is definitely targeted more towards, I just enjoy that music. So I wanted to write something like that.
Yeah, and it sounds insane when you say it, right? It just released a post-rock instrumental record, and it's partly influenced by punk or pop punk or whatever, but it kind of weirdly works really well. And I always, in fact, I don't know if this is the first time we've actually, well, second time we've spoken actually, kind of through video, obviously. But I always poke you in a nice way, or hopefully you see it as a nice way about you smiling, because you're always smiling whenever I see you playing and stuff. You look, and actually when you say post punk and I listen to the latest record from Oreana, it's more of an energy that comes across. So look, you're a busy lady in your day-to-day life, day job. You seem to be like traveling around all the time as well. So you're super busy in that, which is awesome. You're in multiple different bands and projects musically as well, having guitar lessons. You've got an electric drum kit you're going to start learning on. You'll probably be smashing that in 6 months. Why do you do it? Because it would be probably at times a lot easier to just not bother, right?
That's a good question. I do it for fun. So I don't want it to be a task or like something that I feel like I have to do. And if I'm too busy, I don't have to do it. Like I don't really have pressure to release more things or keep up with anybody, or, it's just for me and it's just for my fun, and hopefully some other people enjoy it too. For example, the last few months since coming back from Dubai, I've been really busy with work and traveling a lot. And I haven't been able to play. And I'm a little bummed about that, but it's like it goes in seasons. Sometimes I'm busy and sometimes I'm not. So when I'm not busy, I can take advantage of playing music as my hobby and something that I enjoy doing. And in the busy times, I just take a break. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's a nice way to look at it. So I'm going to ask you about being an independent artist. What do you do within the process? So the Oreana record, obviously there was some guest players, but in terms of like recording and mixing and all that sort of stuff, what do you do? What do you outsource?
Yeah. Great question. So I usually write probably the guitar part first, and then guitar layers. Like I'll just do most of the guitar parts. Lately, actually on my latest album, I would send it to the drummer before I recorded bass. And the reason is, as a bass player, I love following the drums. So I don't necessarily want to choose the beat myself, like the exact rhythm of what the drums are going to be doing. I have an idea, of course, of the progression of, it's going to follow the guitars too, but I'll usually record the guitars, send it to a drummer. The drummer sends it back, and then I record bass. If I can get like a relatively clean recording the first time, like while I'm writing it, and I actually do, like as I write the music, I'm recording at the same time. So I have my headphones in, I have Logic on, and I try something. And if I like it, I record it. If it's good enough, that's the final take, because I don't like tracking and re-recording things. But sometimes, especially on some of my faster songs, like the pop punk songs, or if there's like a lead guitar, I'm not great at guitar. So I may have to practice that line, for weeks in order to be able to play it through. So sometimes with writing it, I write little parts at a time and I just record little clips. And then I practice that part for a couple of weeks so that I can retrack it later. So that's kind of the process of recording. I definitely do retrack, probably like rhythm guitars and certain parts, like if they're messy, I have to retrack them. So I kind of do that at the end. And then I do send all my songs, the Oreana songs, to my friend Jose from Arizona. We used to be in a band together, and he mixes and masters everything. So I'd like to learn a little bit about mixing and mastering, but as we've talked about, I'm pretty busy already. So it's kind of a lower priority. I think it would be fun, but I think right now the most fun for me is writing and recording. So if I can free up more of my time to do that fun stuff, then you might
have to give up the drums to do that, Jill, because I don't know if you can do both. It's a rabbit hole at which I don't think you ever come out of, unfortunately, once you go too far into it. Artwork and stuff like that, do you do that yourself, or do you work with anyone?
Yeah, sort of. So the first couple albums and some of my like EPs and stuff, sometimes I'll design the artwork myself. So I did paint the cover for the first two Oreana albums, The Desert and Sunrise Gold. My mother-in-law is a watercolor painter. She taught me how to paint. So I did those.
Awesome.
And then I sent to my friend Greg at the Sound Camp to help me edit kind of just the words and the kind of the design of the actual artwork. And sometimes I do like the EPs and stuff on my own, just online. And then my latest one for Dubai, I took that picture while I was at Expo. It's a picture of Al Wasl, the dome. And then I took a bunch of pictures, and then I was like, hopefully one of these can be my album art. And I sent it to our friend Adam Dodson, who actually put together kind of the artwork and the text and everything to make it look really nice. So
awesome.
Yeah, a little bit both.
Good choice. Didn't realize that. That's a good choice there.
Yeah.
I guess if you're listening, if you're watching Jill right now, and you're on the cusp of maybe starting to do all this sort of stuff yourself, you might be thinking, God, this sounds like a lot of hard work. And it is the reality, right? So it's a lot of time and effort and energy, and sometimes money. What's the hardest part about being an independent artist, Jill?
I think maybe learning how to write music, and I say that because I've been playing music since I was 15 for a long, long time. And maybe because my main instrument is bass, like you maybe don't write a song based off bass that much, but like it took me a long time to find my voice and to learn how to like figure out how to write something that's my own and sounds like me. I saw people doing it, and I didn't know how they could just create something out of nothing. And one day something clicked and I was able to do it. But I don't know like how easy that is to turn on for some people, or like if they try to write something and can't, or, I don't know exactly how that process works to be able to like advise someone how to actually do it. Yeah, I think that's a hard, like first, like entry level barrier kind of thing. Yeah. But once you get it, then you kind of have like maybe more of a process and a structure to write more songs.
Yeah. And I always think about like social media being an example. Like you see some people on social media that are clearly super talented on the instrument, whatever their instrument is. And I bet there are some people that are like that can't write a song though.
Yeah, sure.
That must be super frustrating. What's the best thing about being an independent artist?
I mean, I like having full control over what I'm making. I can make whatever style of music I want, like pop punk, post rock stuff. Like who else wants to play that with me? Not that many people. So like, I can just do it myself. If I like the style, I can go for it. So
when you play with Oreana, then, which we don't need to go into, but I imagine is a very different process. Do you enjoy that process? Because I imagine that's totally different. How does that compare and contrast to being your own stuff?
Different. So there's a primary songwriter, Eric in Hero A, one of the guitar players. He writes most of the songs, and his kind of style of writing is like get everyone in a room, or at least a few people, and kind of go through some ideas and flesh them out. I've never been very good at in the room with other people, like writing on the spot. Like I feel more comfortable when I'm by myself with my headphones, looping something, and I can try it many times and make a lot of mistakes, and no one hears it until I kind of have something that sounds a little better. So it's definitely a different writing process. Since I'm only playing bass in that band, it's, I've played bass long enough that I can kind of keep up, but it's still not like exactly my sweet spot for writing in a full band setting like that.
Talk us a bit through your gear then, Jill. So I can see your 5-string bass in the background, which you're always. What's your bass guitar of choice? Do you want to grab it?
Yeah, I can grab it. Let's get it. So I have 2 basses.
Oh God, sorry. Trashing your gear.
This is my Geddy Lee Fender Jazz that I got when I was like 16. And I love it. I've been playing it ever since. This one is a 5-string Fender Jazz that I got specifically for playing with Hero A, because they play in A sharp, and my other bass couldn't handle it. Yeah. So those are my basses. Let me get my guitars quick. So this is I did have an electric guitar in college that I got rid of. It was like a cheap Gretsch. This is my first real guitar. I feel like that I've been playing. I got this one actually pretty cheap. It was used, but it was in great shape. It was like 1 year old. So this is a Gibson SG. I love it. This one, I feel like this is the one I learned how to play guitar on. I played this for like 2 years exclusively, like every day. So I really love this guitar. Again, I didn't like changing the tuning on the guitars, so I got another one. This is a Jericho. This one I have in drop C, and it has the Evertune bridge, so it never goes out of tune. So this is my low tuning, and then the other one I can change the tuning when I want to.
I think I know the answer from what you've been saying already, but I've been asking everyone, what does success look like for you musically?
It's a good question. I probably have a much better answer for like professional and career kind of development, but for music, like, because to me, it's really just a hobby, and success is just having fun. If I'm enjoying it, that's like really my main goal. That's why I'm doing it. So of course it's nice to like release somewhat regular songs, to get better at the music, to make friends and to meet people through it. Those are some of like my other goals, but I would say those are all pretty much secondary to just enjoying it. Which is
I was a betting man. That's what I would have bet you were going to say. So cool. We'll catch you soon. Have a good day. Thanks, Jill.
Oh, good talking to you, Nick.
Yeah. Take care. Bye. Thanks for watching. All of the links to Oreana's music are down in the comments below, so do please feel free to check those out. If you want to see any of the other Meet the Musician episodes in this series, then I'll link some here. And of course, if you would do me the pleasure of subscribing and hitting that bell for notifications, then I'd love to see you here back on the channel in future. Thank you for watching.